Cancer. Welcome to Misfits of the Zodiac. Welcome to your first video on this channel. I'm super excited to be starting this channel. Real quick, before I get started, first things first, I want to mention that I am a practicing witch. So if that makes you feel uncomfortable, this probably isn't a channel for you. My name is Ace, and today we're going to be doing your reading for July 2025. So this will be relevant for the entire month of July. I'm going to be using the Green Witch Tarot and potentially some other goodies that I have off to the side. Like I have a couple Oracle decks. I also have the Crow Tarot in case we need to do any check-ins with any of the cards that come in to see if we can dive a little deeper or if we need to. I'm also going to be starting with some downloads that I got. You do meditation just before I start a reading. So I wrote down some things that came up during that we're going to start with. But I'm going to cleanse the energy with a little bit of sound before we begin. Okay. Put this off to the side. All right. So I'm going to start with the downloads that I got first for you guys. Okay. So the first thing that I saw was super interesting. It kind of looked like a horizon line, but it was like horizon meets horizon. One was upside down and one was right side up. And then eventually this top one went away and it was just the horizon. And the sun was there over time after a certain amount of time. But I couldn't tell if the sun was rising or setting. It was hard to distinguish. I don't know that it really matters. To me, that felt like a cycle is closing or beginning, or usually when a cycle is closing, another one is beginning. But it felt like, again, like the day has ended, then the night begins. So it's like the closing of a cycle, the beginning of a new one. That's the vibe that I got from that. I also got this really interesting image of like, it kind of looked like a bundle that you would use for smudging, like for clearing, cleansing, that you would light and then use to like clear the space. But it was actually like, it was wrapped in spider web, which I thought was really interesting. To me, spiders and webs are a sign of like connection to other people. But this one almost felt like the intuitive hit that I got was that you were almost like feeling binded by your connections to other people potentially, and that you were feeling like almost like you were getting wound up by them, if that makes sense. Interpret that the way that it makes sense for you, but that was the vibe that I originally got, so I wanted to mention that. It also kind of had a feel of like tying up loose ends, like, you know, like when you're let's say you're like flying a kite and you're like wrapping the thing until it comes down, and then you wrap it and wrap it and wrap it and wrap it until it's like its own little piece, and then you have everything all together. It kind of felt like that, like you were just wrapping things up, like any loose ends that were like left astray, you were pulling them back to you and wrapping them to make this like little bundle that was easy to carry and take to the next thing. So it might be representation of that. And the last thing that I got, the last thing that I got was like a fall leaf, like the color of a leaf that would be coming off the trees in the fall, landing in a puddle of water, which is interesting because you're a water sign. And there was like a ripple effect that was happening. And to me, obviously water is very emotional connection. So to me, it felt like either something was falling into place for you, or it was like, it felt very meditative, honestly. It felt like peace, like you were feeling peace, and then that was resonating out to other people. It might be you, it might be someone else that you know. But it almost kind of feels like it felt also like things are, again, falling into place, like falling into itself and then resonating out from that, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. But take it, leave it if it doesn't resonate with you. Those are my downloads. So like I was saying, I'm going to start with the green Witch Tarot. I've already shuffled these, but I'm going to start pulling now. So something I want to mention is that I know a lot of other tarot readers, they have like a specific way that they pull cards out. I pull them out. I take pop outs and like that. It's funny because they landed upside down. I go until it feels intuitively that I'm supposed to stop. So I don't like do a Celtic cross necessarily. There might be times on this channel that I do that if I'm feeling up for it. But typically I just pull cards and I draw intuitively. So I kind of just feel it out and like whatever makes sense like that. Like I just go until I feel like it's time to stop. And then I will wrap it all up with like an oracle. If we need to dive deeper into a specific card because I feel like I need some clarity, then I'll do that. But for the most part, we're just going to be pulling from this deck, and then we'll see what we get. Okay. I think these are supposed to be up. They came in sideways, but they feel like they're supposed to come up. It's supposed to be upwards. This came late, but I feel like that should be on the top here. I'm going to pull all the cards and then we'll go over them. Usually, okay. I'm feeling like I need to pull one more for the very top. It's kind of like, feels like it's going to be like an overall vibe for the whole reading, or like a main theme potentially. We'll see if one pops out. If not, we'll pull an oracle card. I'm going to probably pull an oracle card anyway at the end. I have a couple to choose from. I'm just going to go by intuition, what feels right. Go one more and see if anything pops out. No. Okay. So I'm going to assume that we got everything we're supposed to get from that. So, okay. Let's start with this. So the first one that I got was the Five of Pentacles, and it's in the reverse. So to me, this is a good signification that you've been going through it financially, potentially. I know a lot of us are. This shows, because it's in the reverse, to me, that tells me that, and especially since it's the very first card in your in this row in the whole in your whole pull, is that you're about to come out of this. So if it were right up, it means that you could potentially be getting ready to go into this energy, but because it's upside down, it's telling me that you could potentially start to see in the month of July movement of the energy of lack. Whether that's, a job coming in, a new gig coming in, whatever that means to you. Usually with the Pentacles, it's financial. You'll notice that when you have this upright, she's like out in the cold. In the original tarot, the vibe on that card is there's this guy outside who's basically got a crutch, and he's, I don't know if you guys can hear that. That's like, they sell some stuff outside. You might hear it again. It's kind of a funny noise, but that's just them letting know that they're selling some things outside. Could be ice cream, could be a lot of different things. Anyway, she's kind of away from the fire. So in the original one, there's a guy with a crutch, and he's like outside of a church with a female. Sorry, it's going again. And they're basically both out in the cold, and the people are inside, and it looks like it's warm inside, but she's left out in the cold along with him with the crutch, and like they're already having hard times, right? So with this one, she's like, the fire is way behind her, and she's kind of, again, far away from the fire and out in the cold. So again, I feel like you're moving out of this energy. So if you've been having a hard time with finances for whatever reason, there's about to be a shift, it feels like. So that's definitely good news. The next one you got is the Ace of Athames, but it came out again in the reverse. Those are the only two cards that came out in reverse. Everything else was upright. So the Ace of Athames feels like, so typically with swords energy, that's usually like when it's upright, you're getting some sense of like clarity. You're beginning something potentially in the area of like the mind, like you're getting clarity of something makes sense all of a sudden, right? So if it's in the reverse, you could be feeling like you're the exact opposite of that. Like you're feeling a little bit like stuck in a situation and you can't seem to get clarity, and you're trying to be able to move forward, but until you have a sense of clarity, it's kind of hard to do that, to start afresh, because it's the ace, so it's the beginning of that. In this particular deck, you have this cute little mouse with the dandelions, and the dandelions have these little seeds that are kind of floating. This is usually, again, it's all air energy. So I think that when you're having a sense of clarity, sometimes one of the best things to do is to let it go if you can, which can be really hard when you're like, I'm just so frustrated with this situation. Why can't I seem to like figure out what I need to do to move forward? Sometimes the answer is sitting with it, but sometimes it's just like, you know what? I accept that I'm not supposed to have the answer right now and move forward. And that's like the quickest way for the answers to come to you all of a sudden, okay? Also, potentially be mindful to the outdoors. Be mindful to what's around you, because there might be something that's trying to give you that clarity, but you're feeling blocked. And that's why it's in the reverse. So be aware of symbols and signs and paying attention to your intuition and what your intuition is telling you. You could always look up what you're being drawn to. So if you see an animal out in the wild and you want to look up what the symbolism for that is, that might give you some clarity. I know a lot of the times that works for me. Sometimes when I'm just like I'm looking for something outside of the box because I've tried everything else, that's something that might help. But ultimately, I'm getting the feeling that like you're blocked partially because you're attached to it. There's some sense of an attachment to it. So trying to like let it go as best as you can would be the best, I think, would give you the best benefit. And the reason that I feel that specific energy with this card right now is because the next card that you have is the Eight of Athames, and it's in the upright. So in this card, you kind of see there's all these like apples, and she's blindfolded and she's walking through the forest. In this particular deck, the Eight of Athames, or the Eight of Swords in the normal deck, is all about continuing to move. Not letting yourself get stuck in a position where you're afraid to move because you don't want to make the wrong move. It's a confirmation that you're moving in the right direction, even though it feels like you're blind, even though it feels like you don't really know where you're going. You're actually doing a good job. So keep going and doing the thing that you want to be doing. The apples are representation of wisdom. And so the fact that they're all on the ground around you means to me that the answers are coming. But you, again, with the Ace of Athames, when it was in the reverse, it tells me that there could be a tendency to slow down and to not keep moving because you don't have clarity about something. But it seems like the answer is to keep moving forward. Don't let that stop you from continuing, because that could be the thing that like gets you stuck. Okay, so that's the vibe for that. The next card that I have is the Page of Chalices. I love this one in this deck. It's so cute. She's like artistic, and she's by the river, and this feels very much your guys' energy. There's a lot of water energy in this. Obviously it's a chalice, so she's carrying water, but then there's also this flow behind her. In this particular deck, it's talking about the need for artistic expression. This could also help with unblocking things. I know that sometimes when I feel like I'm getting stuck and I'm getting like in my head about something, or I feel like I'm just like, I can't seem to find a way to move forward, getting it out of my body or out of my head by doing something physical in the physical space, whether it's painting or producing music or drawing or going outside even, or like just creating anything, something that is not meant to be necessarily seen. It's just for you. It's just to like unload onto the page. That seems to be what's coming through mostly from this card, is that it's the need for artistic expression to kind of move some of this water energy so that it doesn't stay stuck. The next card is the Two of Pentacles. This is a cool card. I'm a huge storm person. It's funny because in LA we don't get very many storms, but there's like a storm brewing. He's, got these pentacles and he's juggling them. And the idea with this is, again, it feels very much so far like you're juggling two things. Like you might be juggling home life with business life. Usually that's the case with the Two of Pentacles, but it could be two totally different things. And you're trying to find a balance, but this is telling me that you're doing good. You're doing a really good job with finding the balance and continuing to move forward and not getting stuck like we were talking about, and just continuing to find balance the best way that you know how, and then working from that energy instead of getting stuck in the head, stuck in the body, stuck in emotions. You're working through that. So keep doing what you're doing. Despite the storm behind him, he's still moving. He knows that he's already built this barn behind him, and he is strategically placed himself in a really good position. There's also a little fox in the background too, which also they're very strategic, right? Some people look at them as like trickster energy. It could be that, but in this particular deck, I think he represents being strategic, and that seems to be what you're doing. You're staying on top of stuff despite the storm, despite what's going on. You're keeping the balance, also making sure that you're taking care of little you. Again, with the Page of Chalices, because there's like a little kid in that card. That feels very much like part of that balance could be artistic expression, especially if you're a creative type. But even if you're not, like that could benefit you if you choose to go with that. If you're feeling an intuition, or if you're feeling like a gut to like finger paint or do something that like you're like, I haven't done that since I was a kid, or I've never done that, I've always wanted to do that. Like explore that, like take yourself on a little creative date to like a dollar store or something, getting some basic paints and just create for the sake of like creating. It doesn't have to be seen by anyone. That could potentially help you continue to have this balance. Okay, so that's your top row. The next row is the first one is the Four of Pentacles. So the Four of Pentacles is usually a indication that you're trying to find stability again. This man is at home. There's a guy outside that's trying to get in, but he's like, no. He's content at home, and he's continuing to find stability at home. I also like that there's like a little turtle here. I don't know if you can see it from there, but he's like a little turtle inside this little, again, water there. It's very much your energy again. The turtle for me represents, he's got his home on his back. At any point he can just pull in and then he's at home, and he can just feel balanced within himself, which is like, I think the metaphor for that is the man that's inside the house where the sky is trying to get in. Okay, we got a lot going on in the world right now that wants to get in, that wants to antagonize, that wants to get at your good nature, right? Doing your best to keep the balance, like we were saying before, and only allowing in what needs to come in. Your home is your sacred space, so make sure that you keep it that way. Make sure that you're continuing to find stability within yourself by doing that. The Four of Pentacles could also mean that you're trying to find stability despite, like we were saying, the Five of Pentacles in the reverse. If you have been going through a rough financial time, you're trying to like keep yourself steady so that you don't dip too far below the water as far as finances go. So that is just a clear indication that you're doing a good job doing what you're doing. Okay, so keep it up. The next one that we got is the Ace of Cups. This is really good, especially I like all the water that I'm seeing with you guys in this reading. So there's this little salmon here. This particular deck talks a lot about prosperity in this particular, even though this is water and it's not pentacles energy. This is prosperity in the way of like filling up your cup, okay? And like feeling abundant at home and feeling abundant out with friends and feeling abundant like with what's being given to you. And accepting that maybe even if finances aren't like super stable or coming in, you know, at this particular moment, there's still a lot to look forward to as far as all of the other good things that are happening. So don't lose focus of this Ace of Cups, because this is the universe handing this to you and reminding you of all of the things that you could be looking towards to help yourself remember that even if things are really tough sometimes, there's always positive things around you if you look hard enough. So this is just a representation of that. But this is also like a good indication that good things are coming in for you. The salmon, again, is like it's kind of like a harvest. There's a harvest coming in, and this is the beginning of that. So this is just reinforcing that there is a shift, there's a change happening. So kind of goes back to what we were saying about the horizon. It's almost like there's one cycle closing and another one beginning. So if you've been in a rough cycle, it seems like you're about to go into a shift, into a better cycle. The next card that you have is the Knight of Wands. So in this particular deck, she's on her way into town to try something new, to see if something's going to work out for her, to again, I like the fact that there's the horizon, the kind of the visual that I had before. It seems like you're walking towards that. Even if it feels slow and steady, you're making your way towards the light. You're making your way towards a new beginning. So keep up the good work. You're doing really well. So don't forget that. I also like the fact that she's headed, if you see there's like a little sign here that says village, she's seeking out community. So kind of like we were saying before about the spider web that I was saying, like it has for me, the spider web is usually connected to community, like, because if you think about it, it's kind of like your web of friends, right? So seeking people who are like-minded and people who you care about could be beneficial right now for getting the ball rolling. So that's what I'm getting from that particular card. I think that it's really interesting that you have the Knight of Wands here, because the other card, which is the one that actually came up in my head when this came up, was the next card in line for you, which is so similar to this one, which is pretty cool. It's the Knight of Pentacles. Okay, she's on her draft horse. She's got her pentacle. Okay, so it's almost like this feels like you going towards the horizon. You're trying to meet the universe where you're at. And then this is the next day, and you moving with the pentacle that you gained from the new start that you're starting for yourself. So this is also they're both knights. They're both knights on horses. Okay, so there's victory here as far as I'm concerned. That this is like you moving into new energies and accepting changes that you've been hoping for a while. So definitely, I like too that it's almost like the two of them together are almost like the Chariot card, okay, which is a victory. So it feels very much like that energy, and you're figuring out a way to make it all work. The very last one that I got for you is the Eight of Pentacles. I love this card. Especially for entrepreneurs, but even if you're not an entrepreneur, this is all about hard work, but work that is fulfilling, work that is filling up your cup, and you're getting to the point where you're no longer an apprentice anymore. You know what you're doing, and you're working towards goals, not effortlessly, but you're in a position where you're not a novice anymore. So this is a good indication that, again, you're making it happen. You're finding the balance. You're working through emotional energy. You're working through this like fear of like things just don't seem to be coming, but you're continuing to move forward. You're continuing to hone in on your craft. So this is an indication that you're doing just that. So keep it up. You're doing a great job right now. This is a sign that you're moving in the right direction. So don't get too in your head about things, even if it feels really difficult right now. So at this point, I feel like I usually pull a card. And I feel, what do we want? That's funny. I didn't really feel this one for the other signs, but I'm going to pull from this one because I love this deck so much. I just recently went to Salem, Massachusetts, last November, and I got this deck in Salem. So this is a very special deck to me. This one and my Crow Tarot are very special to me. And I'm feeling drawn to this one because I kind of feel like you could use a little bit of hearing from the wild side of yourself right now. This is called the Wisdom of the Wild Things Oracle. I love this deck so much. I cannot speak higher of this deck. Like, look how cute this is. It's adorable, but it's also so unique and so introspective. And like, I love that they take normal things that are struggles with in everyday life and flip it on its head, because it allows you to see the other side of challenge. And I feel like because you're moving in the right direction, but it feels like you could use a little boost. I feel like this is the right deck to pull from you. So pull for you, I should say. So I'm going to pull a card from this, and then I might do one from, you know what? I'm going to do some bibliomancy to wrap it up in the animal spirit guides. We're going to pull an animal for you guys and see if we can get some symbolism, because we were talking about that earlier, like if you're going on a walk and you're looking for animals around you and symbolism, that'll give you like a taste of what that could look like for you. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, cool. Beware the happy toxins. Look at that. So cool. I love this deck so much. It's such a unique deck. Let's see what these guys have to say. I love the top of these cards too. Look at this little, I'm assuming he's like a little Phoenix box. He's so cute. So cute. All right, let's go ahead and see what this has to say. So it's number 16. All right, let me hold this up while I'm reading this to you. Some of the prettiest plants are poisonous. Look at the situation from many angles. Play devil's advocate. You will be tempted to act, but discernment is what you need first. When you see happy, red, delicious berries, it's your job to investigate. Sometimes what is too good to be true is indeed good and true. Sometimes you get to devour all the tasty goodness, moving beyond fear and doubt to risk greatness. Other times you would be better off to say no and cleave to your current commitments. This is one of those times. Enjoy the happy right now, but investigate it closely. Something isn't as it appears. This feels very much like the Four of Pentacles energy that we were talking about. Somebody's outside that's trying to get in. Maybe they see that you're happy and you're still doing okay and you're figuring it all out despite all of the circumstances, and they can't figure out how you're doing it, so they're trying to get in on that, okay? So be mindful of anyone who might be trying to come in to wreak havoc on your joy because they can't find it for themselves. But again, this is just reinforcement that you know what you need right now. If you check in with yourself, I think you know exactly what you need right now. And continuing to use your intuition and work with what you have, I think is going to benefit you the most right now. So that is what I'm getting from that. And then we are going to close this off with, like I said, some bibliomancy. So all bibliomancy is basically is I'm going to flip through the pages and I'm going to land on a page, and that's the animal that you're supposed to get, okay? So this is from the Animal Spirit Guides, if you want to check this out for yourself. I'm going to go ahead and pull an animal. The platypus, so cute. All right, so this is a time of heightened sensitivity, so pay close attention to the cues that your body gives you. Take time to discover the layers of meaning behind any significant encounters. That sounds like all the stuff we've been talking about. Rather than trying to adapt to others' demands or their pace, stay in tune to your own internal rhythms and move with those accordingly. The situation before you requires you to have absolute faith in the process and to go with the flow. That feels very much like the Eight of Athames when I was saying, just keep moving. Don't let the sword stop you. You're on your way to wisdom. You already have that within you, okay? Neither resisting nor being passive and non-responsive. Your clairvoyance is increasing, and you'll find that you more readily trust your inner vision. Include food in your diet that's grown underground, such as potatoes or carrots. That'll also help you. Those are really good rooting, vegetables. They'll help you like ground. Obviously, I'm not a dietitian. I'm not a doctor. If you can't have those things, then don't have those things. But things like that, if you can include them into your diet, it'll help you ground a little bit and feel a little bit more of what you've already been having with the Two of Pentacles, this like balanced energy in even when things feel like chaotic, okay? So it seems to me like the overall general vibe from this feels to me like trust yourself. Trust yourself that you're moving in the right direction, and don't get too caught up in your head, okay? Don't get too caught up in your head. Continue to fill your cup. Don't let outside influence start to infiltrate what you already have going, because what you have going, even if it may seem challenging right now, you're literally at the top of your game when it comes to figuring it all out. You're having everything come at you from every angle, and you're still figuring it out. And people are probably on the outside looking and going, how are they doing this? I don't get it. Like, I want to know how to do that. Like, honestly, I want to know. Like, maybe you could let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this reading, I would love for you to come back and see what we have in store for August. Right now, I am doing monthlies. I would like to eventually be able to dedicate more time to this channel and have more misfit chaos. But I want to welcome you as a misfit. If this feels like your place, then welcome. I would love to have you subscribe. Let me know in the comments if this resonated for you. Take what resonated, leave the rest. If nothing made sense to you, then it probably wasn't for you. But I really appreciate you being here. I would love to have a little like if you like this video. And I'll see you guys next month. Bye, guys.